The rumors around DeMar DeRozan's next destination continue to spiral all throughout this offseason. We got two teams that have now come out as possibly interested in DeMar DeRozan over the last day or so. We're going to talk about those. Which team makes the most sense? Which team can help the Chicago Bulls the most? Maybe I should say that vice versa. We're going to talk about all and more right after this.
Tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got the latest around DeMar DeRozan coming out. One of these comes from The Athletic. Take that for what you will. It says that the Lakers still are interested in DeMar DeRozan, but as of right now, the Miami Heat are slight favorites to land DeMar DeRozan in free agency. This has become the latest kind of thing that everybody talk about. DeMar DeRozan is probably the best free agent left on the market. There are a lot of teams that don't have a lot of money. Signing trades will be the way that any team almost acquires DeMar DeRozan at this point, considering what DeMar DeRozan wants in the free agent market as far as the contract. Now, we also do have down, this one comes from Zach Lowe, surprisingly enough, that says, I think the Kings have a move yet to make this offseason. I think they've sniffed around DeMar DeRozan and called the Sacramento Kings a sneak team to land DeMar DeRozan. So right now, there's a lot of things going up and down. What you can take from that is nobody exactly knows what's going on. Jake Fisher, when you pair with that rumor that came out early, is that the Bulls are interested in Kevin Huerter and that they've been exploring trade opportunities for Kevin Huerter as well. So we've heard Kevin Huerter's name mentioned a lot around the Chicago Bulls, more so in Zach LaVine trades. But now the fact that if they've had some slight talks with the Kings and maybe they are now pivoting to DeMar DeRozan, would make some sense that, Kevin Huerter could still be a possibility for them there. Again, take everything with a grain of salt, but it seems right now that the situation around DeMar DeRozan is very fluid and that there is no clear favorite to land DeMar DeRozan. And ultimately, the Bulls can only take back, as we said, it's a little over $14 million they can take back in salary unless they include other players. I would say this: if the Miami Heat, Sacramento Kings come sniffing around DeMar DeRozan, at this point, I would try to make a team take Javon Carter or work out a 3-team trade to where the Bulls can also unload something else, as well as maybe get some second-round picks back or something. I know a lot of Bulls fans, or some Bulls fans, are holding out hope the Bulls can turn this into getting a really big asset back. More than likely, that's not coming. But what the Bulls can do is try to get something back and maybe even unload something that's not as favorable, because teams are trying to get DeMar DeRozan at close to the number that he ultimately wants. And that's what the decision is probably going to come down to here, if the Chicago Bulls can get themselves involved in that type of thing. So we'll see what happens there, man. At the end of the day, I know that this is not the situation that DeMar DeRozan and his agent probably thought they would find themselves in this early part of in the offseason. And we've gone through the first, maybe even the second wave of free agency, and DeMar DeRozan still is yet to find a home. And me and Pat talked about this over on Locked On Bulls, and Pat had mentioned the thing of, well, is it the player in DeMar? Is it just the salary of what he wants? What is it that's keeping teams from going after somebody that was 17th in the NBA in scoring per game last year, right? We're not talking about somebody who is completely washed up. Now, DeMar's never been a great defender, but even with the Bulls kind of moving their roster in a different direction, this saga and how it's gone for DeMar has just been crazy to see. So, but yeah, we'll see. The Miami Heat, if they're really interested, they do have some contracts that could interest the Chicago Bulls. Again, the Bulls aren't going to get back, for those that are hoping out for Nikola Jovic or anybody like that. You're not getting anybody. They're trying to add DeMar DeRozan to what they have going on. And if the Kings are ultimately interested as well, Kevin Huerter being around a $16 million contract, I think, could get DeMar close to what he wants. And the thing to keep in mind with this DeMar DeRozan situation, there's a few interesting possibilities that this can turn into. While a sign and trade, it has to be a 3-year deal. Only 1 year has to be guaranteed. And the reason why that does help DeMar DeRozan is that a team would have his early bird rights at that point. They'll have negotiating power. So even if he only signs that a 3-year deal with 1 year guaranteed, if he opts out of that, they can sign him at a larger amount the following season. So basically, they're using this season to get him in with whatever type of room that they can create, give him a larger contract going forward. But that's still a scary proposition for a 35-year-old in the NBA. And I want to be clear here. While initially it looked like there may not be a chance that DeMar DeRozan returns, there could be something to be said here. The Bulls have almost $14 million that they can still spend before they hit the luxury tax. Now, that would mean that Javonte Green is not coming back to the Chicago Bulls, but the Bulls and DeMar could work out something to where they sign DeMar DeRozan, maybe even make the deal non-guaranteed up until the trade deadline, and that would give the Bulls some flexibility to go out, re-sign DeMar DeRozan, maybe find a trade for him by the trade deadline, and if that doesn't work, waive him. Like there's a lot of different opportunities here, man. And yeah, it all does not end in DeMar DeRozan necessarily getting the deal that he had hoped for initially when he came into this offseason. So, and the Bulls, keep in mind, the Bulls actually have more power now than what they would have if they wanted to keep DeMar DeRozan. And the reason why I say that is that any team that's going for DeMar DeRozan is trying at this point to get him a contract that is favorable because they can't create it themselves. So the Bulls hold some leverage there. In that case, the Bulls have more power, and because they could easily say, "Hey, we've moved on. We're going younger. We have no interest in keeping DeMar DeRozan here. We don't have to help you sign DeMar DeRozan. Give us something." And that would be one of the better plays that AK has made quite a while if he ends up walking away from this situation where everybody knows your roster's going in a different direction than DeMar, but you still end up walking away from that, even if it is 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks or something like that. You're still walking away with assets because you're negotiating from a place of power. And that's not something we've seen a lot from this Bulls front office here over the last few years. So I won't necessarily hold out big hope that that's the case and the Bulls are going to walk away with it. But, we'll ultimately see what happens there. We'll see what happens. But let's go and see how you guys are feeling in the building. The only time I see that makes sense is probably your Sacramento Kings, because if Jimmy Butler walks away, Miami's going to need somebody that's much younger. I don't know how DeMar factors into that, because DeMar isn't younger. So I don't know if he necessarily helps with that, but I don't know. Won't say that the Kings just make a lot of sense, but at this point they could be looking at something. Shout out to Bulls Troy in the building, says, what's good, Haize? Let's hope the DeMar news happens soon. I just want it over with, and I really hope that it does not come down tomorrow where everybody's celebrating their holiday, but I wouldn't be surprised. Jose Ramirez says, bro, you're always posting at the right time. It's Whopper Wednesday. I'm about to watch this and max out. That's hilarious. Shout out to Jose in the building. Now that I stopped and think about it, Miami doesn't have anybody that can get their own shots if Jimmy Butler decides to leave, but they do have a lot of good shooting and a lot of good defense. Heat culture is a thing, and I wouldn't say that DeMar DeRozan even works for that roster, honestly, but because of heat culture is why I'd give them the benefit of the doubt that it could work, is because the Miami Heat are just that type of team that if they go after somebody, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, because typically they're going to find a way to make it work whatever way they can. That's just how the Miami Heat have done business. That's how they've operated as a franchise. And so, I wish that we could be there. So we'll see what happens there. I am a coward. Funny, Delbert, what's going on? Says, hell yeah, let's go. Old Man Winter says, starting to feel like DeRozan is going to sign somewhere for the mid-level, and we are going to be able to trade Zach or Vooch. The thing with the Bulls I think that they could trade Vooch, but of course it comes at probably giving up assets at this point. And yeah, DeMar DeRozan is probably going to walk for nothing, and that's still not the worst case scenario for the Bulls. Now, the Zach LaVine situation, things like that, because of how the front office feels about Zach, it seems like something that they don't want to get into as far as him being back on this roster, but there's still a possibility of that for sure. I seriously hope that DeMar DeRozan fired his agent for all the unnecessary BS. Well, I don't know if I don't even know if you can blame the agent at this point in time. Don't get me wrong. The DeMar DeRozan turning down a $40 million a year contract because he had hoped that he was going to either get more or go to a different team and get, even if he got $25 million, at least you're competing for a title. But let's not make any mistake about it. DeMar DeRozan, they just read the market wrong, but can't just blame the agent in that one. I didn't mind Herter in our previous roster and with the Levine trade, but now he doesn't make as much sense unless he's 40% from three. We still have too many guards who are 6'5" to 6'7", Billy small ball 5. I mean, here's the thing. It's not Billy's like Billy has to play the roster that they give him. I mean, Billy's been given a small ball roster, but I think ultimately, at this point, you're just looking for something. And the Bulls still do need 3-point shooting. And regardless if that comes with players playing out of position, whether Io has to play some three to make that work or whatever, you do need some 3-point shooting. So Herter can work in that case, but we'll see. We'll see. DeMar to Golden State, that's probably not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Sacktown says, hope we can make a good deal for both teams. Kings fans will be happy with Levine or DeMar. I want Bulls fans to be happy with the return. You guys deserve it. Well, this time, anything is gonna help, right, with the Bulls because of where they go. Can the Bulls package Zach and DeMar to the Kings together? That's you got to keep in mind. That would be, considering what DeMar probably wants, that's almost $60 million in cap. The Kings just don't have that type of flexibility with their roster. They have Kevin Herter, they have Harrison Barnes, almost everybody else in that roster they want to keep. So I doubt that could work out just because of the size of the overall deal that it would get to. I mean, where do things have happened? If they can find a third team, maybe, but that's still a lot of money to bring in. What's good, Haize? I don't mind Kevin Herter, but just him doesn't seem enough for DeMar unless they come back with another player or picks. Heard the Spurs may have interest in wanting DeMar back. I'm sorry, Melvin, that's enough. Like, you got to keep in mind, the Bulls aren't in a position where they can ask for a whole lot back. They're not outright trading DeMar. They're signing trading DeMar. So basically just helping facilitate to get more money. We got to stop looking at these trades as something that's like you're getting a whole lot back. The Bulls have one roster spot. I mean, could they incentivize him with picks? Possibly. Maybe a second in the case if you're getting a young Kevin Herter back who's 26 years old, but you're not getting a whole hell of a lot back. You're just not. You're not. Eddie says, I went into a coma when the Bulls were the first seed, and now I just woke up and people are saying to trade everyone and Kobe's good. Well, hey, shout out to you from your coma. DeMar and Jimmy makes absolutely no sense to me. Zach makes more sense to Miami. Damn shame DeMar didn't take the Bulls' original offer. He was never getting that anywhere else. But see, I don't think that it was basically meant that DeMar didn't take it because he thought he was going to get more money elsewhere, because the Bulls could always offer more money than anywhere. But I do think that DeMar thought and guessed wrong that if he didn't take the deal with the Bulls, that at least if he moved on, he was going to be able to get 20 to 25 million initially and probably go to a contender. And that's just not happening either in this case. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things that ended DeMar here at this crossroads that he's at right now. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But as far as like Zach makes more sense, yeah. But the thing is again, the Heat. The Pistons have cap. Yeah, but the Pistons, they don't seem like I get it. They signed Tobias Harris, right? But I don't know if they're like, and again, I don't know if DeMar would want to go to the Pistons. I think DeMar still wants to go to a team like that's even taking a step back from the Bulls. So, we'll see there. Bro, Kevin is enough, and the second is cool. The Bulls, that's go Bulls, see red, and bro, you the best on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Thank you, fam. I appreciate that, man. I just try. I try my best. I love my team. That's all it's about. Sanogo just signed his two-way deal. Well, there you go. Look, I'm live for that. Shout out to Adama Sanogo getting his two-way deal. Yeah, it's good that Adama signed that. So that still keeps a roster spot open for the Chicago Bulls. There have been some thought that maybe Adama Sanogo signs the final roster spot to add some bigs there, but that probably means that the Bulls are holding on to Nikola Vucevic, and Jalen Smith is going to be the backup center, and now you're going to have Adama Sanogo on another two-way deal. So there you go on that one. That's crazy. Shout out to the breaking news. Adama Sanogo signs his deal. That's crazy. Glad to see that, though. Glad to see that for Adama Sanogo. Adama Sanogo, who I wish he really wouldn't have to go to the G League again. He's been so good at that G League level. But at the end of the day, I mean, if that's where they see him, that's where they see him at. But shout out to Adama Sanogo for signing his deal. Let's see if we got any details on that. Give me 1 second. Let's see. A two-way contract with the team, that so it doesn't have any years or anything on it there. But good for Sanogo. Sanogo, he deserves it, and I do think that you can only keep Adama Sanogo off the roster for so long, because he just can. He just listen. Adama Sanogo dominated the G League, and I don't use that term lightly. He dominated the G League, and so as long as Adama Sanogo continues to develop that way, somebody's going to give him a deal. And the Bulls have to. The last thing the Bulls want is somebody that they signed as an undrafted free agent, and eventually they go to another team because the Bulls are just reluctant to give them a main roster spot. Adama Sanogo is somebody that has absolutely shown I am above the G League level of competition. Now, he has not shown what he can do at the NBA level yet because he hasn't had much opportunity, but he's definitely shown, hey, this G League level, I got this. Y'all ain't got to worry about this. Can't many people hold me back in the G League. And so he adapted. If you look at how that G League season started off for Adama Sanogo, and how you could tell that the speed of the game and things were getting to him, the fact that he was able to take that, turn that into something for himself, as far as like he went to being an excellent defender. Didn't really shoot the three ball like he did in college, but again, that's expected when you go into the NBA level and you don't have kind of the speed to get that shot off. But blocking shots, rebounding, scoring in the paint, putbacks. Adama Sanogo did all of that at the G League level and dominated in that level of competition. So I hope that Adama eventually does get a opportunity to play at the NBA level because he deserves it. Adama Sanogo is a damn good player for what he is, and he understands his limitations as a player as well. And that's where you start seeing players be able to find ways to contribute when they understand their limitations and they play within them, but they excel in those areas as well. Adama Sanogo is somebody that has excelled at what he's been called to do at the NBA level, and I gotta love him for it. Gotta love it for him. So yeah. You think Sanogo will get more play this season? I hope so. I won't guarantee it just because, of course, we don't know what this roster is going to look like. But I do hope that the Bulls are looking at it and saying, hey, we got to find a way to get this guy some minutes because he's shown that he's ready for it. And yeah, so you want to reward when players go and you send them down to the G League, because think about it like this. We saw Marko Simonovic in the G League for 2 years, and he looked the exact same. Adama Sanogo in one season looked so much better than Marko Simonovic did at the G League level that it's not even close. So let's hope that continues, man, and we'll see what happens to it. What happens if another team offers Sanogo a deal? Will we have the chance to upgrade him? But I would imagine we would have a roster spot or a luxury tax concern. So as long as he's on a two-way deal, another team can't snatch him away. If he was on just a G League deal, then yes, a team could snatch him away. So that's kind of the benefit of having players on two-way contracts, is that because you have the option at any time to convert it. So a team just can't come in and sign your two-way contract player. If he was just signed to the G League team, then yes, they could come in. They could try to sign him away, and then the Bulls would just be stuck with it. But stuck with having to deal with it, I guess I should say. So let's hope that's not the case. That Adama Sanogo continues to develop and he continues to excel, and that the Bulls eventually play him at the next level, because I think he's ready for it. I really do think he's ready for it. But now I got to change the title of this video. We got to get Adama Sanogo in there as well, because I'm not going to record another video, because all I do is record videos. And usually what I would do is I would end this live stream and then I'd turn around and record another video for Adama Sanogo. But it's almost 11 o'clock at night. I'm not doing that. And I'm live now. So we're doing it live. We're doing it live. So, shout out to Adama Sanogo for getting it, man. Adama Sanogo is just somebody who he's really excelled. And I like Adama Sanogo's game. If you guys have not watched, if you guys have not gotten to watch Adama Sanogo play in the G League, I would suggest going and looking at it. He's a really good player. He understands how to play for sure. But Sanogo is limited to the number of games he can play with us unless his deal is upgraded. Yes, but they've increased it. So it's like 60-something games, which is almost the majority of the season. It used to be, I think, like it was like 30-something games, but they've almost doubled it. That was years and years ago. So rumor that Kings and Spurs are in on DeMar. He can't afford the contract he's looking for. I mean, but the thing is neither can the Kings. The Spurs can, because the Spurs still have $20-something million in cap space. And I mean, maybe he does go back there. I mean, if DeMar DeRozan goes back to Pop, working for Pop for one season, and then hopefully goes back onto the free agent market, either stays with the Kings and gets more money or goes to a different team, that's not a bad proposition, right? So I mean, DeMar has a lot of things that he needs to kind of figure out, man. He really does. But hey, we'll see what happens with DeMar DeRozan, man. We'll see what happens there. Let's get that in there. Bam. Cool. All right. Jordan says, I'd love to see Adama Sanogo get missed next season, but with Jalen and Vooch, I doubt he'll get some. Well, I mean, listen, the thing is that you just never know with injuries, things like that. Also, because Jalen can play some power forward, it opens up some opportunity to play another big. But like you're right, I don't want to act like you're not right. You are right. It's a very slim chance that Adama Sanogo plays very much meaningful minutes at the NBA level. But I still hold out hope. You never know. Maybe Vooch gets traded midseason, something like that, which definitely could affect that. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to update this title on this video real quick. Bam. And we just fixed that with that. I'm a master at working around this character limitation. All right, there we go. Matty Legend in the building. What's going on, Matty Legend? Glad to have you in the building as well. Are Spurs or Houston a playing team with the DeMar? I mean, I think the Houston Rockets are probably a playing team anyway with the development that they had, the way that they finished that season. You add DeMar DeRozan to that. Yeah, the Spurs, listen, it depends on Wemby's acceleration. How much Wemby grows from year 1 to year 2. Having Chris Paul, an actual point guard that's going to be able to get him the ball, that matters as well in that too. So I think there's a chance that they're both competing for play-ins, but the West is the Wild Wild West is real. I don't know how it's going to be an interesting case to watch the Western Conference, see how it develops. So, bro, Josh Giddey's like 6'7" at point guard. We about to be at least exciting. I guess you meant exciting there. But yeah, I mean, listen, we have really good rebounding guards on this team. Kobe White, really good, solid rebounder. Josh Giddey's a really almost great rebounder at the point guard position. That's going to definitely help with some things as well. We're going to be an exciting team because I think we're going to run. We're going to get out and run. We're going to push the pace, not play run and gun, but we will play at a higher tempo. I think that's really big for them as well. So I don't know. This is the thing that's been most perplexing to me. But Wiseman's finally signed elsewhere. Thank God. So we can stop with the Wiseman thing. I didn't care for Wiseman on this team. So I thought we already knew Sanogo was coming back. So no, we knew that Sanogo signed, that the Bulls extended a qualifying offer. That didn't mean that he officially signed. So now he's officially signed his deal. So that's the difference there. Do you think a Vooch for Herb trade's possible? It's a steep price for the Pelicans, but the center market's quite dull. I don't think they're looking to give up Herb Jones anytime soon. So Vooch has no bite to him. He adds nothing to the identity to this team. He works for other teams. No, I got to disagree with that. Yes, defensively, he's terrible. But to say that he adds no bite, no, go back and look in wins. It's really interesting. I know we didn't win a whole lot of games, but specifically look at Nikola Vucevic's output in Chicago Bulls wins. And you'll see that Vooch absolutely made a difference in wins for the Chicago Bulls. Now, he hurt the Bulls a lot, too. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but he played in wins. Vooch has always been an important player for the Chicago Bulls. So I hope Billy uses them more. I see more teams with lineups that can punish small ball. T-Wolves, Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, and even Miami if they move Bam to the 4. If they move Bam to the 4, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you there. Why didn't the Clips go for DeMar after losing Pete? Because I think they did something better. They brought in Derrick Jones Jr., who is going to be a great role player for them there at that position. And they went out and brought Kevin Porter Jr. I think people forget just how good Kevin Porter Jr. was before all the nonsense. So I like what they did better than adding DeMar DeRozan. You get a young Kevin Porter Jr., who I believe before his last year, before exiting, averaged almost 20 points per game. Yeah, he averaged in 2022-23, 19.2 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 44% shooting and 36% from 3. And he's 6'4", 203 pounds. Nah, they did damn good adding him and Derrick Jones Jr. I think they did a great job at adding those two players. And I think they're going to play big dividends for those. And they're also role players who understand they play a more modern style game. I like that a lot better than them adding DeMar DeRozan personally. So Sydney says, I received an alert about Sanogo and then hopped on YouTube to see if you were going to go live streaming it, realizing you've been live streaming for 23 minutes so far. Damn it. Well, I was live streaming about something completely different. I was streaming about DeMar DeRozan and the rumors around him and the Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings. And it just so happens I was live. So gotta run, fam. Luckily, I gotta catch you live on my lunch break. Peace. Shout out to you, Troy. Glad for coming through, bro. C-Dub is going to be hot because now Sanogo signs two-way deal. Pretty much is telling us Vucci is staying. Well, keep in mind, so two-way deals can be converted at any time. So let's say that Nikola Vucevic is traded in a week. The Bulls can then go and say, Adama Sanogo, yeah, we signed you to a two-way. We're going to convert you to a full-time NBA deal for $4 million per for 2 years. They can do that. So it really maintains some flexibility. That's why two-way contracts for development pieces and pieces that you see long-term on your roster are really good for teams. So are you surprised Javonte wasn't signed yet? No, because I think that the Bulls probably have a handshake deal with Javonte Green that he's going to be back on this roster. They can't sign him right now because that would eliminate a roster spot. And if they end up having to take back an extra player in the Zach LaVine trade or a player in the DeMar DeRozan signing trade that they end up waiving or moving. But I think Javonte Green's going to be back with the Chicago Bulls. That's what I think. So why don't the Lakers go for DeMar, or have they given up on that since they've already got the GOAT Bronny? Well, so the Lakers can still go after DeMar. The thing is that the Lakers would have to clear $24 million in salary just to offer DeMar DeRozan the mid-level exception. Now, that's not impossible, but the Bulls can't absorb all that. So that would mean that a third team would have to get involved to route some of that extra money that's coming. So we'll see what happens there. I somewhat disagree on Kevin Porter. A team betting on potential makes sense, but the Clips need to win games, especially if Kawhi gets hurt. DeMar would be better suited there. No, they got to disagree. Because Kevin Porter Jr. has already shown you what he can do at the NBA level. And like I said, it's not just that. It's the fact that they also added Derrick Jones Jr., who is a ultimate role player that can come in, play a more modern style, and add to that. They don't just need somebody like the thing that the Kings that the Clippers have to get away from is the heavy isolation ball, is the one-on-one thing. So getting role players that can come in and fit different roles is a lot more flexible than DeMar DeRozan, who has to play a very specific way. And I don't know how much the fit of him and Kawhi really works there. But again, Kawhi not really always being healthy. You never know there. But they also get to keep Norman Powell in that case like that. So, and they added Chris Dunn too. I like what the Clippers have done. Like what the Clippers have done. I guarantee you the reason why Zach LaVine hasn't been traded right now is due to the fact that AK is probably trying to attach. No, Shay, every time you say you guarantee something, why do you guarantee craziness? Like why can you, like, of all the things you can guarantee, you could guarantee that Tiana Trump is going to get busy. You can guarantee that AK is going to make a bad trade. You be guaranteeing stuff that you in no way can actually guarantee. What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Gotta throw Shay some fun there, man. But all right, y'all, man. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. 500 of y'all in here on a random live stream, man. I appreciate you guys for that. Everything, you already know what it is, man. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls. That just is what it is. You can doubt it. At this point, I don't care. We are the number one spot. That just is what it is, man. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I say that. I've been saying that for years now, but I think it's ultimately been held true. Nobody gives you guys up-to-the-minute news like we do, and that's because of you guys. We're able to do that because of the way that you guys support the channel, and I hope that this offseason we've been delivering the content at the rate that you guys like it, and we're going to keep doing it, man. We are not done. You already know. As news drops, we drop. That's just the way it goes, man. We will see you guys tomorrow morning because I'm still going to be dropping my daily episode even on the 4th of July. You still will be getting daily episodes. So make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red, y'all. Peace.